I don't know when it became not impressive or not cool.
Greetings, this is Jason Marcellus, and man, I could do a whole series of videos on that stitch. Let me explain the context. The stitch comes from a video where this young lady talks about opening up for these great songwriters such as Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson, and she talked to people in the industry and they didn't care. All they cared about was her TikTok numbers. And what she ended up saying was, if you're a new artist, just stay indie, because these people, in industry don't know what they're talking about. Well, the reason for this, and she even asked, she didn't know when it became cool to just dismiss someone like a Bob Dylan or to dismiss a legendary artist and just not care. Well, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I keep saying it a lot, and there's some musicians think that this is BS and think it's a joke, but I'm going to keep saying it. The Telecommunications Act. When that got passed, what it allowed was for big companies to take control of radio, and they bought up all of the radio stations, and therefore they could control the pop music that was going to those stations, and they controlled the pop music that was going to television. So that's why you keep hearing the same songs everywhere. And in some instances, they controlled nightclubs, and that's a whole other story. So one of the things that happened was because music had gotten so corporate, you have these people who get in positions of power that know nothing about music and don't care. All they care about is numbers and profit. Just recently, a drummer posted a story on his Facebook where he talked about why he doesn't play certain venues. And he mentioned this one video he asked about, and the person who was the presenter or whatever asked to see his resume. And he had a whole lot of people's names on the resume. I'll give you two. One was pianist Marion McPartland, who hosted the show Piano Jazz, which was on the radio for many years, and she had been playing since the 1950s. Another was the late Chuck Mangione, who of course had his hit Feel So Good, but he had been playing since the 1960s. And this person looks at that list and says, I don't know any of these people. Frankly, you should not be booking a venue, but they are, because you have a lot of corporate people that all they care about is numbers and profit, and that's it. And they shouldn't be booking venues, but unfortunately, this is something that has happened industry-wide. And that's why she was saying just stay indie, because a lot of these people don't know what they're talking about. One last thing is, we really started to emphasize celebrity. I'm reminded of an interview that was given to the great Nina Simone. Once again, she's started making her, I think she made her first record in 1958. So someone who's been making records for years, had been a very established artist, and it was in the late 1990s. And this interviewer asked her about, what do you think about pop stars now, but naming names? Now, it's one thing if you ask a general question, well, is there any new music you're into? But was asking about specific names, and I mean, I understand, maybe it's a young crowd at this TV show, but who cares? But they don't care that this is a legendary artist. No, they just want to know her thoughts on whatever the newest trends are. And so I think that's another thing. We started to emphasize celebrity over the quality of music. So in the kind of environment that we have now, that's why somebody like a Bob Dylan, to a lot of people, doesn't matter.